Hey guys, Miss Gaylord here. Just going to jump on to show you some quick videos on different skills this week. I hope you've had time, if you're watching any of these, to watch the reading skills. And today we're going to look at some math skills and just kind of review, what we've learned this year. If you want to watch these and just refresh your skills over the next couple of weeks, you are free to do that. Many of you I know are complete, so you may not be watching these, but if you'd like to, let's just talk a little bit about some math skills today. So think way back at the beginning of the year when we talked about ways to add numbers, okay? Remember when we had two numbers and we talked about how you can look at the numbers in their place where they are, such as a number like 4 plus 6, okay? When you're using addition, remember you can change those numbers, the 4 and the 6. So we talked about this and we talked about fact families, okay? Can you remember the fact family using the number 4, 6, and 10? So Miss Gaylor gave you the first one. What are the ways to add to 10? Okay, 4 and plus 6 is 10. So then you can change those numbers and you can go 6 plus 4 equals 10. Can you think of the other two ways that we can add to that fact family? Remember that a fact family has 4 ways to write and what we call an equation, okay? An equation. So the other ways would be the opposite of addition. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So we can put 10 in the front and then we can subtract, okay? So the other two ways to write the fact family would be 10 minus 4 equals 6 and 10 minus 6 equals 4. Very good. Okay, so this is what we call a fact family. So a second way we learned how to look at a fact family is we made these models, okay? Remember the models? There's several ways to make a model. Miss Gaylord will show you here, okay? Let's take those same numbers, 10, 6, and 4, okay? So when we're making a model of the numbers here, what number do we say always goes on top? Okay, the biggest number. So we would put 10 on top. Okay, do you remember how we can write the other facts in this fact family? Okay, we can say what plus what is 10. If I'm using 4 and 6, I could put 4 here, 6 here. Okay, so 10 minus 6 is 4. 10 minus 4 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. And 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, so those are several ways you can use the fact family. And then another thing that we learned is we learned using a number line. Okay, when we have an open number line, okay, I'm going to start with the number 4 here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the number that I have, 4, and I'm going to jump up how many to get 10? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to jump up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that would be, remember how we filled in the number 6. So 4 plus 6 is 10. And that's a third way to look at how you can make a model of these addition problems. Have you been looking at your addition and subtraction fact families? Hope so. You need to practice that all summer long. The good thing is you can get on MobyMax and iReady all summer long so that you can be prepared when you get to the beginning of 3rd grade. Okay? All right, so Miss Gaylord's going to give you a couple of problems, and I want you to fill in, okay, the answer. Okay, if you have a scrap sheet of paper, you can fill these in as well, okay? All right, so if we're trying to find the answer to 8 plus what is 11. Now, it's best to just learn the fact family, but if we haven't, we can always draw an open number line, and we would start with 8, and we would need to go to 11, right? Okay, so we have 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to start with 8, and we're going to jump to 11. How many times do we jump? 1, 2, 3. Now, it's always best just to learn your fact families to fill in the blanks, but this is another way to solve a problem. What if you have this problem? What minus 4 is 7? Is it going to be bigger than 7 or less than 7? Bigger than 7. Very good. Now, there's several ways to solve this problem. You should know the answer, of course. If you don't, okay, you can also solve it on an open number line, right? Okay, what minus 4 equals 7? So you know that 7 is going to be the lower end. Okay, what minus 4? So I'm going to do the opposite of subtraction, which is what? Addition. And I'm going to go up 4. Okay, if I go up 1, I get to 8, 2 to 9, 3 to 10, and 4 to 11. So now I can solve what minus 4 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 7. So my answer is 11. Okay, 11. Those are some skills we learned toward the beginning of the year to help you figure out how to solve these equations. Okay. All right. So let's jump ahead. And let's see. The next thing is we're going to look at is some word problems here. I'm going to you have to listen. If you want to jot down some notes or numbers while I read them out loud, that would be the smart thing to do. Rick has 13 marbles. Okay. 4 of his marbles are blue, and the rest of his marbles are white. Okay, so how many marbles does he have total? 13. Very good. Okay, so he's got 13 marbles. We know that 4 of the marbles are blue. Okay, and the question is, the rest are white. How many are white? Now, there are several ways to write this equation. I'm going to give you several. Okay, let's start with the first one. We know he has 13 marbles. We know that 4 of them are blue. Okay, so we can take 13 minus 4 to solve how many are white. Now, there's another way to write this. Okay, so what would be the answer? 13 minus 4. One of your facts you need to know, just like this, it would be 9. Good. Okay, another way to write this would be 13 minus what equals 4. Okay. Again, this is part of the fact family, the second way to write the same problem, and your answer is 9. Another way we could answer this would be 4 plus what equals 13. Let's solve this one on the number line, okay? All right, so the problem said that we know we have 13 marbles. Okay, we're going to put 13 at the end of our number line. We know that 4 of them are blue. Okay, going to jump back 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to fill in my numbers here. If I jump back 4, I know that I get to number 9. Okay, so 4 of them are blue. How many are white? The answer would be 9. Okay, so 4 plus what is 13? 9. Now, these are 3 ways you could check off to write that same problem. Okay? Very good. All right, let's try another. There are 5 cows in the barn. Okay? Now, this is a 2-part problem. Remember last week we talked about some 2-part problems. There are 5 cows in the barn. Sometimes I write down what I know. Okay? I know that there are 5 inside the barn. There are 8 fewer cows in the barn than there are in the field. Okay, well, don't know how many are in the field, but I know there are 5 fewer in the barn than in the field. Would that number in the field be more or less? Okay, I know there are 5 in the barn and there are 8 fewer in the field, so I know that number would be more than 5. So I would need to add that 8 to the 5 to see how many are in the field. So how many are in the field? 8 plus 5 would be 13 in the field, okay? Very good. 13. Perfect, okay? All right, so let's take what we know now and let's go to the next skill that we learned, okay? Some of these were, a skill that we learned were even and odd numbers, okay? Even and odd numbers are different. Do you remember how we can give the definition of an even number? Okay, what is an even number? A number that can be divided into groups of 2. Okay, a number that can be divided into groups of 2. So let's look at this. Okay, I'm going to draw a diagram of 6 dots here. Is that even or odd? Well, you can look at the groups. This is 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2. So we know that number is even because there's none left over. Remember that? There are 6 here. In an odd number, okay, when you have groups of 2, there will be a number left over. Here's a group, and then there's 1. That number is 5, and it is odd. Okay, we learned how to talk about the even numbers, and we counted them together. Let's count them starting at 0. Ready? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. And then we put a dot, dot, dot. Do you remember what the dot, dot, dot means? And goes on and on and on without stopping. Okay, forever. We call that infinity. And then we looked at the odd numbers. Okay, 1, 3, count them with me, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, dot, dot, dot. Okay, and remember, the dot, dot, dot means they go on and on forever. Okay, so those were our even and odd skills. Okay, and then we talked about doubles. Okay, if you have doubles, that means you have same number. 4 plus 4 would be a double. Okay, and the answer would be 8. Good. Okay, how about 5 plus 5? And the answer would be 10. How about 1 plus 1? The answer would be 2. What do you notice about all 3 of these numbers? When you have doubles, the answer is even, an even number. Very good. Very good, because the reason why is because you have pairs of numbers that are, the answer will be a pair, which is divisible by 2, which means you can put them in groups of 2. Okay? All right, so the next skill I want to look at would be, we talked about this. It was called an array. Okay, do you remember what an array has? 2 R's. An array is, okay? All right. So we talked about arrays. In an array, there are different rows and there are different columns. Remember, we used the example. This is a row going across. Okay, there are 3 in the row and the columns go down. Okay, in an array, it has a number that's in a row. Okay, this one has 3 in each row. And it also has a number in each column. This one has 3 columns, but 2 in each column. Okay, would this example be an array? No, see, you don't have the same number. This guy's out here by himself. So this would not be an array. Okay, so let's talk about using arrays. Okay, here's an example. Mike put some stickers into an array. Each row has 5 stickers. Each column has 4 stickers. How many stickers are there in all? Okay, let's build an array here of stickers. Hope you like the sticker Miss Gaylord sent you that her son made for you and got it in the mail, I hope. All right, so each row has 5 stickers. So we're going to put 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every row has 5 stickers. There are, it says each column has 4 stickers in it. So let's go down. This is a row. The column has 1, 2, 3, 4. Your job is to fill in the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many stickers do you have? Well, there were how many in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were how many in each column? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, there's 2 ways you can solve this. You can count by 5s. Okay, let's say if we did that. For this row would be 5, 10, 15, 20. We could count that way going across. That would be 5. That would be counting by 5s. Again, 5, 10, 15, 20. Or you could count the number going down and you could count by 4s. Let's say we did that, okay? We would have 4, help me, 8, 12, 16, 20. You could count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. A third way, which you didn't learn in 2nd grade, but you'll learn next year, is to use your times tables. You could multiply that number across that's on the top, 5, times the number in each column, and you could get your answer, which would be 20. Either way, the answer is always 20 here in this example, okay? 20 stickers. I hope that you had remembered those, okay? If I ask you to build an array, please build an array with 6 circles. Can you tell me the ways you could build it? If I say use 6 circles, let's look at it. Okay, 6 circles. What are some ways you could build it? Well, 6 is an even number, so it should work. You could build 1 circle, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Would that work for an array? Yes, there are 2 rows and 3 columns. Would there be another way to build that? Yes. We could make 3 rows and 2 columns. That would be an array with using 6 circles. Okay. Another way would to make one column but 6 rows. You see, there are several ways you could build that array. Okay, I hope you have not forgotten those skills. We're going to look lastly at some two-step word problems. Okay, now all the skills I've reviewed today with you are used in these problems. Let's see if we can solve a couple together. Kara picked 11 big apples. Okay, I'm going to write that down. 11 big apples and 7 small apples. If you're using your piece of paper, you might want to take notes. Okay. Kara picked those. She picked 11 big and 7 small. Dan picked 5 fewer than what Kara picked. Now we're not sure how many Kara picked yet, but we know that Dan picked 5 fewer. So we're going to find that number, and then we're going to use our keyword fewer, which means subtract, and subtract 5, okay? Let's see if we can find how many Dan picked. What is the first step in this two-step word problem? Find what we know. We know how many apples Kara picked. She picked 11 big and 7 small. So let's write down here, how many would Kara have picked? 11 plus 7. Now, there are 2 ways to solve that. Hopefully, you know your facts. If you don't, you can use your number line. Okay? All right, so if you didn't know your facts, you could add the number line and add 7. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see what number that is. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I hope by the end of 2nd grade, you already knew your fact. 18. So now we know that Kara has 18. We can erase the question mark. We added the 11 and 7. We know Kara picked 18. Now we can find our answer. Hopefully you know your facts just like this. 18 minus 5. If not, you can make a number line. 18 minus 5 is what? 13. Do you remember what Miss Gaylord taught you? A word problem has to have a label. So the answer would be 13 apples. Okay, very good. Very good. All right, let's look at one more before we wrap up. Lee has had 8 square blocks and 9 triangle blocks. Okay, Jan took some of Lee's blocks. Then Lee had 10 blocks left. How many blocks did Jan take? Oh, that's a lot of different information here. Let's write down what we know. Lee had, it says, 9 triangle blocks and 8 square blocks. What do we do with those numbers? 8 and 9. We add them, okay? So how many blocks does Lee have? 8 plus 9, we know, is 17. Lee has 17 blocks. Then it says Lee had 10 blocks. Jan took some of the blocks. He had 17. She took some. Is that an add or a subtraction sign? If you take away some, yes, we don't know how many Jan took, so we're going to put our square. We know that Lee had 17 blocks and that Jan took away some blocks and that there are 10 blocks left. The question is, how many did Jan take? Okay, now there's 2 ways to solve that. You might already know what 17 minus what is 10. Okay, if you don't, what can you do? You know the opposite of subtraction is addition. So you can ask yourself a couple of things. You can ask yourself 10 plus what is 17? You could ask yourself, 17 minus 10 is what? Those are the fact families we talked about. In either of these answers, it would be 7. So we know that 17 minus 7 is 10. So Jan took 7 blocks. One way to check that would be to make a number line and check that answer and see if we are correct. Okay, so we make a number line. The biggest number on the line is 17, and we're going to go back how many to get to 10. We don't know how many Jan took, so we're going to go backwards. 1 would be 16. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got to get to the 10. We started at 17. Let's see how many times we jump. Okay. We jump to the 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we jump 7 times. So we know that Jan took 7 blocks. Okay. Very good. All right. So that is going to wrap up our skills today. Now, what is your job? Your job is to go to your MobyMax Math. If you'd like extra practice, I encourage everybody, whether you're finished or not, to do that. The other thing is the iReady and the MobyMax. Now, Miss Gaylord has some skills that are in your Google Classroom. There's several things you can do. There's videos for you to review on time, money, and then you can take the second grade skills later in the week. Each day, Miss Gaylord will be putting up something in reading, math, or ELA to help you to review. And that way you can be prepared these last 2 weeks. Remember, it's optional for most people in the class, but make sure that if you are required to do so, that you are clicking the turn in button to turn in all the assignments. Okay? All right. Be safe. I enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.